Hello, City of Refuge family. I'm Joss Ryder. I am one of your non-binary siblings. And I'm here to tell you, you were born this way. My mama told me when I was young, we're all born superstars. She'd roll my hair, put my lipstick on, in the glass of a boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. So hold your head up, love, and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say, beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret. Just love yourself in your stead. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Give yourself prudence and love your friends. Always know God is the proof of the perfection and how we were made. We must be ourselves, respect our truth. Same gender loving is not a sin. Believe, capital H-I-M. I love my life, I love this refuge, and my love for Jesus never ends. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret. Just love yourself in your stead. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Whether you're broke or evergreen, you're LGBTQ2S, non-binary or intersex. Whether life's disabilities left you outcast, bullied or teased, rejoice and love yourself today. 'Cause baby, you were born this way. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret. Just love yourself in your stead. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way. Baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way. Baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. I was born this way. I was born this way. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. I was born this way. I was born this way. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Same DNA, but born this way. Same DNA. Baby, I was born this way.
Blessings to everyone. Thank you so much, Joss, for that. We're born this way. Listen, I have a task today to be the one who does and provides the living word, which is in my learnings is a particular task. And I pray that we do justice to the assignment. Listen, the scripture has already been read. We honor our bishop, we honor our mother, we honor the shepherd's table, we honor the people of God who are here with us today, both locally and abroad. We honor you. Listen, let's just jump right in. We first want to start off with thinking through this thought around being born this way, right? And that message that Joss just gave us in Joss's rendition started with the Bishop Carl Beam and came through time. And we appreciate Bishop Carl Beam and lifting this. And then we appreciate Lady Gaga for taking it and taking it further. And then we appreciate Josh for making it right here in the City of Refuge and doing the thing that we do by claiming our own version of the truth that God has already spoken. And with that, there's another prophetess out there, go by the name of Beyonce. And she told us, you can't break our soul. She told us that they can't break our soul. No matter what happens, no matter what goes on in this world, our souls will not be broken. And here's something that I want to think through around this. So over here in Acts, we talking about this eunuch that that Philip was instructed to go check out, to go see, to go make sure that that they were being brought in and understood what was going on right in there, right? So Philip goes down here to this desert place and gets down there, and when Philip gets there, there's this eunuch. And this eunuch is reading the scriptures, reading the text. And what I appreciate about this moment is even those who tried to capture this moment did a little thing that we are commonly having conversation around in the 2024 time frame about people being misgendered. Yeah. So who is this eunuch? What are you talking about, Pastor Greg? This eunuch is understood to be a gender expansive human. Baby, we in this thing. We in the text, okay? This eunuch is understood to be a gender expansive human. There's a few ways that we understand that the eunuchs are made throughout history and throughout time. But in this particular moment, we don't need to go through this particular understanding of how this eunuch became who they are. But we need to understand that this eunuch was not male or female. This eunuch was eunuch. This eunuch was a gender expansive human that was called to be and do something in the earth realm that was beyond or not confined by the understanding of gender. This eunuch, all the eunuchs throughout time and space were intended to live a life that allowed them to go behind certain doors that other folks couldn't go behind, allowed them to live a life that let them in certain spaces that other folks who looked like them could not make it through, because God had a particular assignment based on the gender identity. Now, let me pause real quick and help you understand something. I'm not just Pastor Greg. I am them all the time. And one of my beauties in this earth realm is that I study clinical psychology. Some of us don't know that about me, but I study clinical psychology. I'm currently getting a doctorate in clinical psychology. So I'm not talking from a place of just me as pastor, but I also want to sit some context around me as educator. In some ways, I'm still getting used to a little bit of that, but also me as a thinker and understanding the way I sit and understand gender is not just about the cultural context in which we come from, but also in this idea of science, right? And so we have to pause and think through the fact that this country we live in, this world we live in, is a social construct. Is a social construct. And what is a social construct? A social construct is the couple people got together and they went over to a corner and then they was like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna agree on this. Ready, set, go. They put their hands in the middle and they lift it up and they say, yay. But not all of us was invited to the meeting over when they was creating what they was gonna do. And so we didn't get our voices heard when they was like, we're gonna be man and woman. We didn't get our voices heard because, as you heard earlier in the service, gender expansive people always been here. I don't care if they wanted to admit we were here or not, but we have always been here. And I said we. Yes, I am very intentional that I am a out loud gender expansive pastor. Yes, I identify as Two-Spirit. For those of us who didn't know, I identify as Two-Spirit, and I am not ashamed. I am very much comfortable and enjoy the identity that aligns with the divine assignment on my life. Hear me as I say that as we keep going, because this eunuch was called beyond certain gates, beyond certain spaces, and can go in to be with the queen, Queen Candace, under Queen Candace's authority. and there was some the ways in which the eunuch was in charge, right? The way in which the eunuch had an assignment that was beyond the eunuch's gender. All right. So when we think about why or how this moment happens in time, we think about the reality that God says, Philip, go down there and do this thing over in this dry place, this desert place, this place that nobody really want to go to. It's a place that most people didn't really spend time walking through. It's a place that is beyond normative, roads that we travel on, right? Philip says, God says, go down there and do this thing for me. So Philip shows up and pulls up to the scene with his cylinder missing and is like, what you reading? What you doing? What's going on with you? And the eunuch is like, yo, I'm, reading this thing, but how can I really understand it if nobody don't say nothing? So, Philip starts to have this conversation, and not once is the understanding that the eunuch gender matters. Not once is that mentioned. Now, we see the oppression seeped into it, that they keep having to misgender the eunuch by calling the eunuch man, even though they have a clear cultural understanding of who the eunuch is. So I'm going to pause real quick and just drop this in here, and an invitation for some of us who are gender expansive. I know it's frustrating when we feel unseen. I know it's frustrating when we are experiencing this misgendering, when we're experiencing this thing that is happening all over the world, because they want us to fit their construct. They want us to fit into the understandings that they have. Therefore, they place us based on the perception and not the identity. Because gender identity is actually here. It's internal. It's in the mind. It's in the heart. Really, if we think about it real good, it's really in the spiritness of God. It's not placed in the social construction of man. And part of our frustration, I understand us around the world who are trying to make sure that we're seen. Please call me by my right pronoun. Please call me by my right identity. But I had to do a thing, and I went to God, and we had a conversation, and God invited me to use, if you ever see me in social media or different platforms, typically I use the pronouns. I say ALL. I say all of them. Why? Because whatever I show up to you as, for me, this is a me thing. I'm not asking you to do this. I'm inviting you to a new understanding within your own self. Hear me. But whatever you perceive me as, or however I show up for you, is okay. Because I understand within me and within God, both my gender and my assignment is secure. So I don't need you to say the right thing to be the right thing. I don't need, I desire for you to see me in my truth. I desire for you to understand who God has made me. I desire for you to see something that aligns with what God said and not with what they said. But my need is not that. My need is to live according to the divine's assignment, to be unique, to be two-spirit, to be trans, to be non-binary, to live into the full assignment of God of my life. That's my need. My desire is, I want you to see me. And the frustration comes, us gender expansive folks, the frustration sometimes shows up because they don't see what we see, and they don't see what God sees. So we get frustrated. We get annoyed. We get uncomfortable. We get the different things that we get. But the reality is, I don't need you to see it, because the creator of everything sees me. The creator of all beings sees me and understands me and called me. And called me to be who I am. So there's no need. Okay? I just want to invite us to this understanding that we don't have to hang our hats or die on the hill. I understand it's frustrating because we're invisible. I understand because we feel invisible. We are not invisible. We feel invisible because the systems and the structures do not support our being. But there's a very interesting thing about the T underneath this text that I sit with very excitingly, is that this is one of the first times in the text that the Jews and the Gentile, it's the non-Jews folk, the Gentiles get invited to be a part and get preached to. This is one of the first times that we see God send the people to go get somebody and make sure that the things is given to the people. And I sat with that. I said, now, God, what is it about this? And God, me and God, we like to talk. We talk, God talk back to me. And God said, now, my child, there are some things that I must do in this earth realm that must start with people like you. There are some things that I need to do through people like you, because people like y'all, people like gender expansive people, the gems, Yes, the gems of the earth. Yes, the they thems are here. We're here and we're present. Yes, we are. The gems of the world understand under a particular side of God. Understand that there is this feminine and masculine and something else and in between and around. We understand because we live this life. So we understand a particular side of God that some other people are not invited to. And that's okay. So sometimes God needs to start with some of us to do a few things in the earth realm. Ask me how I know. Go call on Marsha P. Johnson. She'll tell you. And then if you flip over to your Bible, the decolonized one, Bishop and them are working on that. But the decolonized one, when you take and strip out the oppression and you strip out the lies and you strip out some of the stuff that was put in there that wasn't supposed to be. Yeah, you flip over to Genesis. And over in Genesis is Hadame. And God created Hadame, and then God reached into Hadame and split out and became Adam and Eve. And some of us argue that when God started this thing of humans, started with the intersex people first, the gender expansive people. There's some things in the earth realm that God has to start with those who understand something beyond the binary. Part of the reason I don't get frustrated no more, or I don't live into this idea of gender dysphoria that they want to place on us, is because I understand that some things got to start with me in order for freedom to happen. People that look like us, they got to start with. That's part of the reason why they attack us in the ways that they do, because the enemy understands something that we've been missing, that there's a uniqueness of people that can understand this particular part of God that allows for God to do some new works in the earth realm. Okay. So I want to invite us who are on the ally side, who are not gender expansive, to understand something. You have been taught and conditioned to understand a particular binary that doesn't exist. It's a social construct. And here in the text, we see Philip go down here, get the eunuch, baptize the eunuch. Philip is taken away, eunuch rejoices. And not once was the gender expansion questioned. Not once was there a worry about the gender representation or understanding of the gender, even in the conversation. So we who claim to be allies, hi, how are you? We invite you that if someone who is gender expansive in your life is asking you to honor who they are, and you're making a conscious choice and decision not to, well, you might want to go talk to God about that. Because as Josh helped us remember just a minute ago, we was born this way. It wasn't a decision we had. And I would even argue that it is sinful for us to not live fully, because sin means to miss the mark. So I would argue that it is sinful for us to not live into our two-spiritness, for us to not live into our transness, for us to not live into whatever gender expansion is yours. And the reason we like to understand this idea of gender expansion, because there are genders that we may not understand based on different constructs in the world. In Africa, there's a different set of understanding of gender. In Asia, there's a different understanding of the concept of gender. And matter of fact, I was with one of my classmates who was African. And when I brought us into this understanding, or named rather, that there is just gender expansive in this Ethiopian eunuch that's in the text. She paused the class and said, "Thank you so much, Greg." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "To this day, we still reverence the Ethiopian eunuchs because there's this understanding that they understand spiritness, they understand God in a particular way that everyone else is not accessing." So when you see your non-binary siblings, when you see your gender expansive siblings, when you see your trans siblings, understand that there's an understanding that they sit with the divine that is different than you'll ever get to experience. There's nothing better or worse about them. They are just experiencing a different side of God. They were just experiencing a different understanding of the divine that they can help us in this earth realm access more of God if we would stop killing them off, if we would stop yes, God, if we would stop misunderstanding them and trying to truncate them into a reality that they were never supposed to fit in. The eunuch is supposed to be the eunuch. The eunuch is supposed to be the beginning of a new part in the new journey of God. I dare you in your space right now to understand if you are even on a gender journey and you have been feeling into this something that ain't making sense about your body. We over here at the City of Refuge, whether you're in here or whether you're outside of here, we love you enough to hold you in whatever truth that you're in. If you're trying to figure it out, we got you. If you don't know just yet, we got you. If this don't align and you're an ally and you understand what the body you were born into and what and the prescription that you were given from the doctor at birth makes sense for your understanding, then great. But there are so many of us who sit with the prescription at birth. I particularly do not use assigned blank at birth, assigned male at birth, assigned female at birth, because me and the divine had a conversation that it was a prescription because an assignment is from the divine. A prescription comes from a doctor. So it's a prescription. This is me and God's conversation. I was prescribed male at birth because of what they saw between my legs or didn't see between my legs as female at birth. But the reality is God gave me an assignment as two-spirit. Because I understand the heavens and the earth realm, and I understand how these things work together. I understand. So the assignment, which is why I argue not living into your gender identity or gender assignment by God, is where some of the sin for some of us can be. But we'll talk about that again later. The reality is, we in this thing, and no matter the prescription, no matter the projection. See, so many folks won't hear this message. So many folks won't understand that we in this thing, we in the text. So many folks won't get it. They don't want to. That's their right. That's their prerogative. But you have an understanding that God is doing something beyond what we have considered to be normative. Yes. You have an understanding that God is bigger than the confines that we put on God. I prayed one time. I was invited to pray at this thing, and I called God gay, and the people got nervous. I said, "Oh, gay God. Oh, trans God." People got nervous. Why did I do that? Because I understand that if I was made in the image of God and I myself is to spirit and lay Pastor Sean over there is trans and Josh over there is non-binary, God must be these things too. God ain't just capital H-I-M. God is, all right. If I was made in the image of God, how can I be made in God's image and God not be what I am? I want the people to understand what they be talking about when they be talking about and not live into this misogyny and patriarchy. But that's another conversation for another day. But we're going to just hang our hat right here and say this. We understand. And you, wherever you are, here, there, everywhere, whenever you are, in time, today, tomorrow, we love you. And we invite you into yourself. For those of us who are already on the journey and out loud living this gender expansive life, we invite us to be the eunuch, like the eunuch was in the text, to be who you are and live according and understand that your assignment in your body is in alignment with the divine. So when you said this don't feel right, you're not living into gender dysphoria. Let me just throw a little science at you as we getting out of here. You're not living in a gender dysphoria. What you're living into is truth. The gender dysphoria was happening because of the projection and the prescription. But you've understood that God called you to be trans. You've understood that God called you to be non-binary. You've understood that God called you to be beyond, to be gender fluid. So you're now living into truth. You have left. This is the science. You have left the gender dysphoria, and now you're living into the truth of the divine. And so I invite you as I close this message to be comfortable in your truth, no matter how they see you, no matter how they gender and misgender you. I invite you. I understand if you're not ready for that yet. I get it, because we are so pathologized. I get it. I understand it. I invite you to a new place. And for us, y'all, who is allies, I invite you to understand we've been here all along. We ain't nothing new. We'll be here forever because we are a part of humanity. We are in the text because God understands that God created us. We know that we was born this way. No matter the genitalia, that's irrelevant to the gender identity. So I invite you, if you are not an ally, nor officially a gender expansive person, but someone in between trying to figure it out, there's safe space here at City of Refuge for you. And maybe you can't get here. We can still love you from where you are, because God made you the way you are. We in this thing, and we ain't going nowhere. I love y'all. Be blessed.